Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Towel Boy, where we try to give you the cleanest takes in sports. Today we have a fun episode in honor of training camp starting last week, and we have the NFL Hall of Fame game this Thursday between the Chargers and the Lions. We're doing a football episode here. Um, Super exciting time of the year. Training camp just started, so everybody is going to overreact uh, positively or negatively to every piece of news, every highlight we see, and that's just fun, right? We're all itching for some football. We'll have football every week. If you count the Hall of Fame games, barely football, really, but every week until after the Super Bowl starting this Thursday. So really exciting for today's video. I'm talking about who I think the 10 best quarterbacks in the NFL are. Now, this is not strictly just pure my ball rating level, right? I'm not talking about schemes. I'm not talking about situations or teams, future projections. This is kind of like that you see on Twitter a lot of the times that spreadsheets and analytics versus like a eye test. And this is pretty much my eye test top 10. So I'm not taking into considering, well, I'm taking some, but like the numbers or like the deep analytics, we're not doing a whole lot of discussion here. This is basically just who I think if I was in a vacuum, had 10 quarterbacks, I'm trying to win one football game, I could build around these quarterbacks. These are the guys that I would go with. So, without further ado, I'm just going to get into it. I'm doing my top 10. It was really hard because for me, I think like that 7 through 15 tier list, that is really tough. So I think the top five guys, in my opinion, are solidified as the top five guys, whatever order you have. So that like 6 through 15 is really tough for me. I think there's a lot of good quarterbacks um, in that range. So I'm going to stick to 10. I'm going to cheat a little bit and talk about a couple honorable mention. The guys that didn't quite make it into this list, I had uh, Matthew Stafford. I think he still has the goods. He's not quite the mobile guy. He still has the arm talent, still has the IQ, the toughness that you want. I love Stafford still. I think Baker's the same. I think he's very underrated. I think Baker's a baller. And then the next guy, I'm aware of the talent, but he just hasn't impressed me. So it's kind of a little bit of the difference. Like not necessarily my eye test, but I know he's good. Is Jordan Love. So those were the three that kind of didn't quite make it into my top 10, but I wanted to give them a shout out because I feel like they deserve it, and it's my list, and I can do what I want. So, at number one, if anybody who knows me knows that I'm a big fan of this player, probably my favorite NFL player to watch. Number one, I have Lamar Jackson. I think he's the biggest threat to run the ball. Um, and maybe in the history of the quarterback position, right? He's kind of revolutionized the position as far as the production that he has on the ground. But also, I think he's one of the best passers in the NFL. He can make any throw that you need, deep ball. He has the accuracy, can throw on the run. The combination of him throwing the ball and using his legs, to me, he has been for the last 4 or 5 years, top two, top three quarterback. Last 2 or 3 years, I think he's just been the best quarterback in the league. Um, Kind of funny, he got first team All Pro last year, not MVP. Um, but I think to me, he's the number one. Number two is the guy who got second team All Pro but got MVP last year. I have Josh Allen. He's just an athletic freak. Another mobile quarterback, absolute unit, tank of a human being. Um, Maybe the strongest arm in the league. Um, And I know I said that I'm not taking into consideration team and stuff, but you're going to have some bias. The fact that Lamar and Josh Allen can do what they do, you see, without necessarily the biggest receiving threats, it's just super impressive. Allen is going to maybe be the most productive uh, QB in the league again, and he's another dude. Obviously, they're all studs, but he's just kind of another dude that you just look at like, yeah, he's one of the ones, right? And then number three, I have Patrick Mahomes. Now, this one is tough because I think he's probably, if he continues playing, he's going to go down as the GOAT or the second best quarterback of all time behind Brady. A, the amount of AFC championships, Super Bowl appearances, Super Bowl rings that he has already is ridiculous. The dude is a pure winner. Um, we saw last year his stats took a dip, but he's still going to find a way. He's going to manage the game. He's going to win you games. Um, the reason I have him three behind those guys is because just they're so equal to me that I kind of had to go off of stats for this. The Chiefs' offense has been a little bit less productive, especially last year. I have no doubt that Mahomes still has the big play ability. He can improvise. He's probably the best improviser in the game. You gotta love just the crazy sidearm throws. No matter how annoying ESPN can maybe get, showing the same highlights over and over. What Mahomes does is insane. It is crazy. Um, and like I said, he's going to go back down as maybe the best NFL quarterback of all time. He's still in his prime, and it's crazy to think that he's been in the league as long as he has. It feels like yesterday he's kind of like, oh, the new guy, Patrick Mahomes. But I have Mahomes at three, and really the top three. I almost cited my fourth guy. They're pretty fluid, fluctuating. Those are the three best players by far. If you have them in a different order, I'm not gonna uh, disrespect your take or argue with you. Those are the three guys that I think are clear cut the best. Um, and again, I wanted to mention this isn't necessarily fantasy football or anything. This is just pure on the field, right? Different. So at number four, I have Joe Burrow. Uh, Burrow is, I think, another dude. His toughness is underrated. He'll take a hit. Um, he elevates an offense. As far as like just pure passing and fun quarterbacks to watch, Joe Burrow and the Bengals are maybe the most fun offense. His connection with Chase is separate from his own ability, but he can. Burrow, I think I like with Burrow. Is that he's not afraid to make the risky throws. Maybe he's going to protect the ball, but if he sees an opening for his receivers, he's going to zip that ball in there. I think that is he might be the best in the league at that. At taking those risk throws. I know in the show Netflix quarterback he called it like a I don't remember what he called it, like in the moment throw, kind of like if you risk a reward, and he makes those throws I think better than anyone else in the league. So I love Joe Burrow. Um, he's in that same tier as the first three, I think, as pure quarterbacking goes. The fact that he's a little bit less mobile, I think, might is the only separator you could really have for Joe Burrow as far as pure talent goes at the quarterback position. And then at number five, I have what Twitter likes to call like if man. I have Justin Herbert. I think off of pure talent, Herbert is about as good as they come. You're not going to find a more prototypical 6'6", strong arm, big body, tough quarterback, athletic enough to move in the pocket, right? The big knock on him is he hasn't been able to win as much as you would like for a franchise quarterback to do. But Herbert is a stud. He's another dude. He can make every throw in the book. Um, he steps up. His movement in the pocket, I think, is underrated as far as quarterbacks go. I think he really navigates the pocket well. Um, and he can fit the ball in a tight window too. I love how he can fit the ball in a tight window. And I like on film watching him. When he throws the ball to the sidelines, I think there's very few in the league that do it just as good as him. I love that's one of my favorite skills of Justin Herbert. So I have Herbert as my number five most talented quarterback in the league. At number six, this is a tricky one. I might be a little hot take. I have Dak Prescott. Yes, he's been injury riddled, but when he plays, he is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. Now he has had some choke moments, um, injury prone. I know, but 2 years ago he could have and maybe should have won the MVP. He was playing. Was it 2 or 3 years ago? Whatever. He was playing at an unbelievable rate. Was until the Cowboys offense was spectacular till the playoffs. Dak, I think, is very, very underrated. He's been super consistent since he came into the league. He's gone down a little bit so with injuries, but he's still a somewhat mobile quarterback, can move how you need to. Um, I think he has the good ability. He can be a game changer and a game manager. I think all good quarterbacks have to be able to do both, and I think that's a big indicator for Dak. So I have Dak as my number six. When he's healthy, I think there's very few that are as solid and as consistent as Dak Prescott. At number seven, I have last year's breakout star. I have Jaden Daniels. Sometimes it's hard with a rookie. They come in and you're like, oh, they had a special year, but they might fall off a little bit, or They had some magic, which Jaden Daniels did with the Commanders, but I think Daniels has the goods. If, he's the closest thing to as electrifying as a runner at the quarterback position as Lamar. His ability to make plays, to improvise, to scramble is second to none, other than maybe Lamar. And at times, he even outproduced Lamar as far as production goes. Uh, I was very impressed with his ball placement last year. The throws that he could make, uh, the different angles that he was able to take that I didn't necessarily see him do at LSU. So I think Jaden Daniels has the goods. We'll see if it continues over, but I think uh, as far as talent goes, I think there's very few in the league that are as talented as Jaden Daniels. At number eight, I have breakout star from 2 years ago, CJ Stroud. His rookie year, he was setting records. Had a little bit of a sophomore slump, but I think that was just a team thing. Um, but at number eight, CJ Stroud, I think you can see in his rookie year a lot of the flashes of what makes him special. Um, I think that he has an underrated deep ball. I think he's one of the better deep ball throwers. I think he can fit the ball into tight windows at a very elite rate. He might be top five in the league when I'm watching him as fitting the football into some tight windows, some tight areas. And I think that he's going to have a huge bounce back year. Um, and I just think that I know it's not like a quantifiable thing and it's not a huge thing, but like when you need your dude to be a dude, make a play, to gut it out. He's one of those guys that is going to go out there. He's going to make that play when you need it in that moment. And I think that's what a lot of these guys have that trait. Um, and that's kind of like the dog factor or whatever, right? You can't analytics won't look at it, but sometimes you can't quantify a trait. I think Joe Burrow has that trait, especially obviously the top guys, but Stroud has that ability to like the Texans. Hey, we need a drive right now. I feel very confident. Looking, he's going to have that look in his eye. He's going to go out there and do it. So I know he had a little bit of a slump, sophomore slump. I'm not worried about Stroud. I still have him as a top eight quarterback. Very soon he might creep into top fives. At number nine is a guy that's never wowed me, but his consistency is hard to deny. He has the talent. He's kind of that good, really good, not great guy to me. At number nine, I have Jalen Hurts. His throwing ability, I don't think is upper tier. He can make throws. He can throw the ball. He doesn't have the strongest arm. I don't think he can pick his throwing windows or his pockets as good as some of these other guys, but he has a good enough arm. He is a good runner. A lot of people like to diminish his running ability because of the tush push. Um, but I think that he's a very talented quarterback, very solid. I think one of the detriments for Hurts is the fact Eagles fans or like Hurts stands, they push his agenda so crazy high that people want to swing the pendulum the other way, right? People are saying, "Oh, he's one of the best. He's elite, top three quarterback." Like there's that big debate on Twitter: prime Cam Newton versus Jalen Hurts, which to me is crazy. Cam Newton was him. Don't forget, Jalen Hurts isn't one of those guys, um, but he's a very good quarterback. Yes, he's on one maybe the best roster in the league, but I still think that if you put Jalen Hurts on, say, the Broncos instead of Bo Nix, or you put him on the Chargers instead of Herbert, he's going to produce the exact same amount of wins, or maybe more. Um, I think Jalen Hurts is still a top 10 quarterback. Number 10, this is my guy. I might get some heat for this one. I have Geno Smith. I love Geno Smith. I love how he plays the quarterback position. If you watch like the All 22, some of the throws that he makes over defenders, I think is my favorite film to watch in the entire league. He will make throws that I don't obviously I'm not an NFL quarterback, but I don't see a window at all, any avenue for the receiver to get the ball. Gino is going to say, "Screw it! I'm going to throw over this linebacker in between these two safeties." He steps up in the pocket better than a lot of guys in the league, so I love watching him move around in the pocket, make these tough throws, and then I'm a big Vino fan. He's one of those guys that I kind of staked my claim and I have a lot of stock in. Excited to see him play here with the Raiders in this upcoming season. That's my top 10. So the final one, finalize it. We got Lamar, then Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes at three, Joe Burrow. That's kind of my upper tier right there. Then rounding out the top five, we have Herbert. And then I have Dak. Jaden Daniels, CJ Stroud at 8, then Jalen Hurts and Geno Smith rounding out my top 10. I would love to hear who you guys think is top 10, who I'm leaving out, who I might be disrespecting, who you guys think is underrated. Again, I'm trying to make it as unbiased as possible, not looking at it through a lens of just who is that dude, who's that stud, to not think about team scenario too much. Obviously, that comes into play, is going to happen. But who do you guys think are some of the top 10 quarterbacks? Who did I miss out on? I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. And until next time, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a good one.